Janet is going to be driving our bus today. So I have got someone who is riding shotgun with me, who I just couldn't have a more better, I couldn't have a more gooder passenger in my bus today. So hitting the pause button, what does that mean? Cue the Nate Dogg line, right? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me they all they all quit and I have to work? Or wait a minute, you mean to tell me I actually can ask my boss for a break and it doesn't have to be with my PTO? You mean to tell me I've actually sat down and I've looked at my household budget, right? I have finished all my EYL goodies and I am in a place financially where I can take 6 months off? Yeah, that's where we are. So when we get into today's presentation, let's take a look at kind of our agenda. I will tell you a little bit more about myself as well, especially if this is a new face for you. My name is LaToia Burkley. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Hello, everyone. Our focus today really has a lot to do with just what I mentioned, right? We're going to talk about some shared terminology. When I say career break, when I say sabbatical, you'll know the definition of that. Why you might need one. And if you're thinking of one, how to prepare, comma, and prepare well for a career break. While you're away, what are you going to be doing? What's going to happen when you come back? And what if you decide not to come back, right? How do you know when it's time to leave? How do you know when it's time to throw up the deuces in a very benevolent, graceful way and still keep the skill set that you have? Close any skill gap that you may have professionally, take on some new ventures, or maybe decide to use another part of your brain for the way that you earn your leisure, right? Myself, we can go back to kind of my bio slide again. For those of you all who don't know me, I am a certified career coach. I specialize in a whole host of things. One of them is being an entrepreneur myself. I am founder and owner of Your Big Debut LLC, which is a career coaching and DEI consulting firm. My job is to educate, activate, and elevate women professionals along their business journey, wherever they may be. I also work with individuals and corporations on how they can increase spaces of belonging and inclusion within their workspace. When I take my whole executive coach approach, at the bottom line, we're talking about people, whether we're talking about people in the medical field, whether we're talking about senior leaders in the C-suite, or whether we're talking about our interns who are just here for a couple months. I am very people-centric and lead my business as such, coach that way. Portuguese is my second language. I specialize as well in the executive coaching space in multiple languages. Love to travel. If you caught us at the beginning or the outset of the presentation, Janet and I were chatting it up about me maybe shedding a little bit more of my fear about being on a plane. Because Lord knows I have literally been around the world and I shouldn't have a fear of flying, but I do. And it's starting to subside a little bit. So I'm going to snap it up for myself as I think about some upcoming travel as well. When I'm not doing all that, when I'm not working with individuals along their professional journey, I'm either asleep or I'm reading. I love to read, certified bookworm, right? Typically read more books than I watch TV, and I'm totally okay with that because that's my business. So let me go into today's presentation today, and let's talk about shared terminology. When we say career break, this is what we mean. A career break is an intentional period of time where one has done just that. They have stepped away from their career. It's purposeful. This is very important. It's a purposeful period of leave from work. Typically, a career break is without pay. So I'm not necessarily talking about a career break because of termination. Differently put, I'm not talking about just when someone gets fired and doesn't have a plan thereafter. However, a person may experience layoff or furlough and decide not to continue their career from there on out. That would qualify for a career break. Also different than talking about short-term disability, long-term disability, FMLA or Family Medical Leave Act, or something that's regulated by the feds, right? Something that you're going to find that the state, regional, or local government is going to have a hand in. That's going to be different than a career break. But let's talk about what a sabbatical is, much different. Typically, a sabbatical is an extended period of leave from a person's usual pursuits. It can also include a purposeful period of leave, purposeful being the key word, right? It's something that you, the individual, have planned or planning Granted, for an employee who is, you see this a lot in government, you see this a lot in academia. An individual is taking a sabbatical because they have a certain amount of tenure at a job and they get 6 months paid, they get a year paid. An individual may be taking a sabbatical because their company wants them to travel abroad to learn a new skill or to learn a new language or learn some multicultural dimension that is going to serve them when they come back from sabbatical to their role. Huge difference between career breaks and sabbaticals. With a sabbatical, that leave is typically much longer, and an individual is typically coming back to their place of employment. They're going to be made whole, we say. So they may step away for 6 months, but when they come back, they're coming back to the same job title. They're coming back to the same type of work. They're probably coming back to the same type of pay. There are companies who pay for a sabbatical. Most sabbaticals are paid, though companies like Google, who offer sabbaticals, will offer a longer term away from one's role or place of employment, unpaid as well. So if we had to set them up kind of side by side in the next slide, you'll see that there is career breaks and there's sabbaticals. Here's here's a couple of the biggest differences if you had to line them up. A career break can also include when one has been furloughed, maybe laid off from a job, and they decide to make a clean break, right? They don't come back if they're offered another position, if they're offered another role based on maybe some department changes or department downsizing, they don't take that. An individual says, hi, I tender my resignation effective immediately. I will not be looking for work. I am stepping outside of the job market. I'm not leaving this place, this role, or this money to go find another money or another role or another place. Clean break. Sabbaticals are much longer, typically longer than a month or longer than 2 months. They start to span into the 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, period of time. Let's head on to the next slide. Yeah, why take a career break? Let me open up the chat so I can see some of y'all's great expressions here. Here's a real snapshot list, but put into the chat. Tell me some other reasons why you might think to take a career break. Most recently, and when I say most recently, I'll say within the last 6 months, most individuals are taking a true career break, not quite sabbatical, but a career break because they're tired. They're tired because of the type of work they do. They're tired because of the type of work they do and the culture that they're in their place of employment, right? They are just overworked. I certainly see it in the chat. Yeah, burnt out, COVID requirements at home, exploring passions. Yeah, what are some other reasons? Trailing spouse, officially done, Annie, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of reasons to take a career break. This is just a good snapshot of it. One thing I want to submit for you to consider when you're thinking about taking a career break, whatever the reason is, I want you to remember that the reason, it's your reason. Let me say that again. If you decide to take a career break, to make any sort of gap in your employment or in what you do and how you do it, it is your choice. It's going to come with, which we'll cover today, it's going to come with some preparation. It's going to come with some communication. You'll have to have maybe some external conversations, but your reasons are your reasons, not in alignment with your values. It goes, ooh, Annie, you hit the nail on the head. As an executive coach who focuses on values, purpose-driven professionalism, and very mindful, intentional steps with one's career trajectory, that's a huge one, and that's a hot one. Put a 1 in the chat if any of you all keep up with or have seen anything or any reference work from Brene Brown or Glow and Tanamo. She started off as a very humble blogger, started to do travel. Yeah, Jennifer, I see. Yeah, anyone else? Brene Brown, familiar? It's very telling that at the beginning of this month, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of her social platforms says, hey, y'all, we're out until September. No more podcasts, no more guest speaking. We need to take a break. Standard career break. Hey, we're stepping away from the project table. Don't look for us. We got plans to come back in September.